Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. You're welcome to this special session with Ani. He's now PfMP. He started his journey very recently and he got his PfMP. I'm very proud to have him as my student. And now he has completed his journey as PfMP. So before I get into him, he's going to spend most of his time. Let me give a little brief about myself. My name is Dharam Singh, and I am your PgMP, PfMP, and PMP mentor. And I have been training PgMPs and PfMPs and PMI certification for a long time now, more than 10 years. And this journey is helping me to connect with various people and help me to add value to their passion, whatever they are looking for, and get them to where they want to reach as soon as possible. So Ani will talk about this journey and how he got there and what he achieved from this certification and how he's going to use this PFMP learning into his uh, day-to-day PFMP or portfolio management. Welcome, Ani.
Thanks, Dharam. Thanks for the kind words. Yeah, you really set me up there. Yeah.
Yeah, so professionally he will talk about himself, but I really admire about him. He's a very regular meditator. He's something aligned with my passion as well, meditation, yoga, and the most important thing about him is he's a very good painter. So if you see the painting behind him, you got a picture or something. He's actually this is a creation of Anis. So whenever I was teaching him in my class, instead of looking at his face, I was looking at this picture. Such a nice picture. One day I like to steal it. So, Ani, before we get into, would you like to say a few words about yourself?
Yeah, thank you. About the painting though, let me start since you opened upon that. This is inspiration from Sedona. It's in Arizona, a few hours north of Phoenix, and then this is one of those rare. When you go there, they say it's a vortex. You feel the energy and stuff. But it was amazing, so it just inspired me to come back and paint the thing on the painting.
Mhm.
About me, okay. Right now, I'm working as a consultant for a client called Daimler Truck North America, which is the trucking division of Mercedes-Benz in the US, having around 45% of the market cap. I work as a I have many roles, one of which is portfolio manager for a big portfolio, which involves master data management, machine learning, IBM workflows, a lot of IT projects, and some aspect of it is also pre-sales for newer technologies and newer business domains. My journey, I like most engineers from India. I started as a engineer. I did my graduation in electronics, and then I took up a job. I worked for a pharmaceutical company for as an IT developer for 4 years. Then I moved to US. I started as a mainframe developer, as a SaaS developer, Informatica ETL, MD, Master Data Management. When I moved to US 6 7 years ago, then I got myself more into the master data management. Then I worked as a consultant. Then I moved to Portland, Oregon here, where I started working for Daimler Truck. That kind of changed my perspective about what work is and how things work. As an engineer, everything was code. You deliver your code and it's great, right? And then when I started interacting more with the customers and what they need, it's not about the code, it's the value that you bring in. So my perspective about what I bring in my profession changed year over year. And I did my PMP in 2016, and then I decided to do my PfMP roughly 4 months ago. And then that's where I lucky to find Dharam, and he was able to inspire me, motivate me, and guide me to get that thing, get the certification.
Perfect. Great. Thanks, Ani. By the way, Ani's full name is Anirikshith Chinnaswamy. It's always have difficulty, but I call him Ani.
Yeah, that's what I go with. I don't want to test people for their pronunciation. It's even my mom, honestly. Only when I'm in trouble, my mom calls me my full name. I usually Ani is what everybody calls me.
You know you're in trouble at that time.
Yeah, exactly.
Uh, by the way, guys, if you have any question in between, I got a set of questions for Ani, and he will be answering them as we go. And if you feel that some particular question you really want him to answer or me to answer, please type your questions on the question pad, and we will pick. I will pick it up as soon as I see them. Okay, or whenever there is logical point. Okay, so Ani, just tell us about why did you want to become portfolio manager professional? And what was the motivation behind it, and what value do you think PFMP going to bring for your career?
Yeah. Okay, I'll be very honest with why I did it. So I PFMP was not in my mind, right? Actually, my most of my work mirrors what a portfolio manager would do. Even my job title is called portfolio manager. And most of the things that I was doing was kind of an intuitive, right? And then I was learning from my mentors and senior C-level people up here in with the client side of it, with the company that I work for. And it was more intuitive. Though I was producing result, back in the mind is like, hey, there was a doubt, am I doing the right thing? That was one. And I know how when I did PMP, it just changed. Though I did the same work, it's the way I expressed it in terms of using those right terms and metrics that I use. It just added value. And then the other part is when I was not looking out for a new job, but I did apply for a job and I did not get it. And one of the reason it came about is it's not what my current job profile or my qualification compared to the person who got the job was better. It's just they prefer somebody with 30 years experience or 20 years experience in some of these positions.
Mm,
So how do I narrow that gap, right? How do I express, hey, I'm not 20 or 25 years experience, but I have the talent. Either you should have like a valid education, you did an MBA somewhere that takes 2 years, and certification obviously qualifies you. That the gap you can explain for not having so many years of experience by certification. So those are the two things that I was looking, and I was looking through everything. I was looking through PfMP. I almost got into this MIT business transformation course, which was probably, I think, a 6-week course. I did look into other agile certification, TOGAF, and things like that. But PFMP resonated with what I do and
yeah.
where I want to be in the career. Hope that
Oh,
answers.
very good. Thank you. So tell me about your experience on how your working perspective redefined before and after a PFMP.
I think there's a huge, my perspective has changed at how things flow in. Like, for example, let me say, um, the data strategy changed for my client, right? And then for most people, when they read it, it's like, oh, that's ridiculous. You can't do this. You can't do that. Like, how can you just change this, not having to think about this? So, whenever there is a strategic change,
Mm,
it percolates and people are not always kind of push back, right? I mean, I would be one of those. Okay, yeah, this doesn't make sense and everything. But now it makes so much sense. You cannot progress. I mean, take example like Tesla or any other. They are make a Google from where most of this team management ideology and things come out. Like Spotify did the agile framework and things like that. So it's like understand. I have a better appreciation of why they are asking, and when I go back and ask them about inquire, well, oh yeah, you want to do this, and then when I ask the right question, I understand why they're saying, and then the process that they want to implement where there is a gap I can mention. And just because there is a PFMP in my signature, they know that I'm qualified to ask those questions. And
exactly.
when I ask, I'm not just speaking because I want to be one of those people who has to ask a question there in a meeting, because it gives me that confidence that hey, I can ask it, and I'm not asking as an intuitive question, but this is kind of a process that's out there that most companies follow. So That perspective is huge. It's just, it makes you a whole different person and way you present yourself.
Exactly, exactly. By having this PfMP itself make a huge difference in
Right.
terms of your confidence goes up and people see you as a SME. So yeah, the whole thing changed. I've
Hmm.
seen this many times. And people who have done PgMP or PfMP, they come back. They look, Dharam, my life has changed, totally changed. So it's a good. Thank you. So tell me a situation where with as a portfolio manager, yeah, it's a difficult situation, but you know, and before and after, how would you handle that situation as a PfMP if you had PfMP at the time?
So yeah, I got my PFMP like a month back. So I don't have so many instances where things change drastically. But I think we are working on an RFP for a big project. And then when people are looking at, hey, the capacity, this is how we're gonna do it. But I bring in the perspective of, hey, when you have a big RFP, when they're not looking at teeny small stuff. It's like, oh, we have this technology, have 10 resources or 20 different resources. They're looking at the strategic direction.
Yeah,
As a part of RFP, any company can do day-to-day work. That's just number. They hire from the same pool of resources. You hire from the same pool. Your competitor hire from the same pool of resources. It's not going to make a difference. But strategically, what the client is looking at, look at his strategy, look at his objectives, and what process they have. And then, hey, if they're high into portfolio management and you need your answers, your replies should be more on those alignment rather than just answering a question in those RFP responses where you're just answering the question. No, you need to have this. And that's where I'm trying to bring in. When they say this, what they're actually asking is, are you aligned to their 5 whys, right? They have this. This is something that displayed in every website of the company. And everything that the CIO is saying is some aligned to that. Like, hey, and that is the perspective I'm able to give. Previously, it was intuitive. It's like, oh yeah, we should probably do that. But now it's so clear to me. It's no more a guesswork. Oh yeah, it makes sense. That's exactly these consulting company, like they have KPMG or other coming in, and they are putting some processes in, and that's based on the vision. And I see so much of alignment with PFMP methodology and what they do, and then I'm able to give that, hey, this is what it means when they say something like that, their objectives and what they mean by it.
exactly. So PfMP gives you different perspective, and now it start giving you why this organization looking, why they want to do, because now you can relate with their vision, mission, strategies, objectives. Yeah, that's why I'm doing, and that's where you get motivation as well. Yes, I should be getting the work done
Right.
because this is giving value to the organization.
I'll tell you, it's not a funny, it's a funny coincidence. Is like after I finished my PFMP, in most of our companies, they change the home screens every other month, right? So they put something, oh, security or something inspiring.
Yeah,
So last week, they did an auto update on my laptop, and I log in. The first thing that comes up is the code doing the right thing. So I was like, okay, it's just PFMP is all about not a, all about doing the right thing. And as program managers, we always do the things right within the budget. But it's so subtle or simple, the statement, but it has a huge impact. And then it gives you a 360 view of not. It's a different outlook that I never thought. I always thought deliver things on time and everything, but you might deliver, like we had a POC where we delivered amazing results as a machine learning but did not bring any value, so technically we wasted 3 months of time, right? So
yeah,
doing the right thing is, it's kind of a, more I read through PFMP in the process, it just resonated with a whole different outlook towards work.
perfect. Good. Thank you. So, Ani, just tell us about your journey. We know you're getting benefit from having PFMP, but tell us, how you got into, start thinking about PFMP and application process and preparation time, and finally, which book you referred and what exactly you did in your journey.
Right. Okay, so that's a fully loaded question. So it's my journey, right? So let me. Yeah, I think I talked about how I got introduced to PFMP, right? So from that point, Um, I did what anybody would do, go into LinkedIn. There are a lot of people who write their success stories, and I read through it. And that's where I found Dharam's website. Like, there are a lot of successful PFMP people who mention Dharams and We Care, how much they have been helpful. So I went through LinkedIn and saw a few, and I'm due to write one for mine. I think it's almost ready. I would post it. Excuse me. So I read through that and I found what material it is. And then the easiest one I started was there is a Udemy $20 uh, video of PFMP. I think it's Liti Mohammed 6 speakers. So I just bought it because it was discounted, and then it doesn't give you the details, but gives you an overview. You feel like it's like when you look at SPM, when you read through it, it's such a rich text. Like every paragraph you can spend like 5-6 minutes digesting every paragraph. It's very dense. So this just give me an overview, just to get the fear out, right? Okay, it's not scary. And then my journey started with just like project management. I have a plan for my study as well. What I want to do. Again, it depends on everybody else. For me, if I don't have a target, then I don't put the focus. So I always say this is when I'm gonna take my test, and then I roll back. Otherwise, what has happened before is like, okay, let me start, and I'm never focused. So I set a date, 2019. I'm gonna get it. I think I made that decision somewhere in late September, and our classes started in October. I think October, yeah, October first week. So I set a date. I'm gonna do it before Thanksgiving or before 2000. There was a range based on that. And then I worked myself back, and then Dharam, I think we started in October 6th is when we started, I think, our first class.
Yeah.
So, yeah, and Dharam has amazing materials, and he has his own book. Along with that, what I really enjoyed is like the group mentoring program where he was teaching his classes to others. You actually get a video. So I had a longer commute. I used to commute like hour and a half every day. So I downloaded it and I used to listen to it. So my way of learning things is you call it dual coding, or attacking the same knowledge from different areas so that you hear it, you see it, you read it. So it has basically your brain creates stronger neurons on the memory, right? So yeah, I started doing it to just get familiarized. So I did the Mohammad Liti's video, so more and more getting more familiar with it. Then Dharam's videos were much more intense, and the important things there were people asking questions, and I had those questions. So it's an audio. You don't get to ask questions, right? But somebody else was asking questions, so it's kind of give me, oh yeah, those the people who take PFMP are humans too. It's like they have questions, and then I had my plan. And I think what the key to my success was consistency. That I every day I would study. First thing in the morning, I get up, I wake up at 5:30, 7 to 8:30 is what I'm gonna study. That's the first thing I do when my mind is fresh and I'm gonna start the rest of my day and work. And I did that consistently throughout. So every day I study at the same time for the same duration of the time. And then books, of course. Then uh, Dharam has his book, which is really good. It's a little more like notes taking, summary slides, which is great. SPM, I think there is no way around it. It's like I would say it's like a heavy whipping cream instead of milk, where it is so dense that you need to spend a lot of time on it. And then Ginger Levin's test book, I think that also made a huge difference. So what I would do is make my plan. First layer is just skimming through it so that I get a structure, keywords, and then I would go a little more deeper. But I would always my way of doing is I study even if I have not studied thoroughly. I would do questions. What it made me realize is like I might understand it in a way that is not what the exam is looking for. So I need to understand the concept in a way to answer the question. So I would do the question 10 days, 10 questions a day. Even if I don't get it right, it's okay. It's just getting my mind when I do the questions and go back to the book. It's like, oh yeah, I see this can be a potential questions, or this is tricky, I need to spend more time with it. And then did practice test. I think I did one, and then yeah, I mean basically I was still not the confidence is tricky, right? You never know when you're ready, especially when this kind of a test. So I was checking with Dharam. Dharam, what do you think? What do you think? What do you think I'm ready? Because I was going with the timeline, right? Yeah, and I think I'll stop at that point because I'm going on a monologue, and if you have more any questions, I can get into any of those details.
Yeah, that's good. The one thing you mentioned about the consistency and
Right.
regularity, very, very important, especially when your mind is sharp, when your mind is fresh in the morning. And good thing about you, you do meditation, and I don't know what meditation you do, but for me, when I'm start doing meditation, I start thinking about the particular topic, and
Mm.
that's not with the meditation. But yeah, clear your mind and then get into this learning process. Definitely help in this in getting to the point where you want to get.
Yeah,
So
just adding to that is um, I'm doing other courses now on speed learning and things like that. But what it comes down to is everybody is unique. Like somebody would just read and retain. Like I give example of Sheldon Cooper from Big Bang Theories. Like somebody has that amazing a memory. You don't have to worry about it. I mean, in how I did my schooling growing up in India and how I was taught. So I'm aware how my mind was trained to learn something. So I do want to go back to basics like writing notes, making diagrams. Um, so everybody is different. So whatever it works for you. And then there's a lot of literature out there to fast pace your learning with a lot of techniques, visualization techniques, and things like that.
very important to have visualization is very, very important. You should be able to see after during the preparation and during before you go to the exam, you should be able to see the how information is flowing from one part of the organization to the portfolio to the various part of the projects to the sponsor, and what exactly you do. More visualization you can do is very, very important. Very good.
Mhm.
And these exams not for like it's not testing your memory. It's about how you utilize your knowledge, whatever you learn from the standard, to do your to do your job.
Great.
One thing I like to highlight, but many people get confused or worried because their PMI has released two standard. One was released sometime back, and the second one, the fourth edition, was released in 2017-18. But the problem is both standards are available on the site, and people without any guidance, sometimes they get started reading the SPM4, the standard for portfolio manager fourth edition, and just be careful. The fourth edition is not in use at the moment in terms of exam point of view. So whenever you start exam at this time, if PMI announce today, they will give you 6 months to get into that. But there's no announcement at the moment. So far we are working on based on third edition, and it will continue to work on third edition until there's an announcement from PMI, and that's where you change. But if you are any doubt, if at any point you have doubt, please check with me which edition at the moment going on, because that's I've seen a couple of people, they are about one person about to go for exam next week and realize that Dharam, your book is based on third edition. Yes, it's third edition, and he realized that he was preparing all the way all up to this time with fourth edition. He has to postpone his exam, I think, 4 weeks, but he got there. But he got mixed up. So be careful. It's all third edition at the moment. And any book you buy should be based on third edition, not to second edition or fourth edition. Okay, great. All right. So Ani, how is impacting? Tell me about your exam. Your positivity and then how you spread, how you're feeling when you're going for exam a day or two before, and during the day and during the exam, your nerves, how you controlling your nerves.
Right. Yeah, I mean there is I would start with there is a Sanskrit verse which I always remember. Yuddha kale shastrabhyasa. That means you should not practice your weaponry or your skill set in sword thing the day before the war. You need to prepare it, right? So that's why my thing before the day before is um, probably the most relaxed day. I eat my favorite food and I sleep at the same time. I get up and do my meditation in the morning, so nothing different. The preparation, of course, is more important. I think most of you have done most of certification. It's no brainer. In the exam, though, I was mentally prepared that I might. How would I put it? The thing is, there is always with PMI, you never know. Some people say it was a very easy paper. Some people say it's a tough one, and you're graded with respect to the. You know, if you answer a difficult question, you get more points. If you answer an easy question, you get less points. But you know, it's not consistent. So I was prepared for it. Um, Getting into the exam, right? It's little different from, I think they moved from Prometric to Pearson. It's a little different. They did not allow you to write anything before the exam started. So, you know, previously in PMP, I used to go remember all memory dump my formulas and stuff. You can't do it. There is no option to like strike through the answers, which was one option they did. Uh, so I had a little challenge when I started. So first hour I could only answer around 28 questions. So average is around 45. The the best analogy, I mean, people who know cricket, I would say it's not a 2020 match. It's like a one-day international or a test match where you need to pace yourself. So you know in the beginning the ball is doing too much, the pitch is doing too much. So it's hard. You need to be patient and hold your wickets. And when there is a power play, you go hit more. So for people who don't know cricket, it's basically what I was mentioning is like you will hit that phase where it gets really tough. I mean, for me, it did, right? First 30 minutes, first hour, only 30 questions. So I'm not only behind. If this is the level of all the questions, I know I'm not gonna even answer all of it. So yep, made sure I knew this was coming. So I hope it's gonna get better, and it got better actually. I think the toughest questions are already up front both times, and then I gained momentum. At the end, I had 25 minutes when I completed all the question. I reviewed those. um, there are some questions which most of you would know is what I call in the slot question. That's like when you look at it, the answer is so simple that you should be answering in a couple seconds. They would say, what is an input for this? What I used to do is overthink it. How can it be so simple? I had this toughest question. The next question is so simple. I don't believe it. This is so simple, right? I'm gonna overthink and waste time on it. Those questions do exist. Like 1 second question, 2 second question do exist. Like a one single line, and options are very much and not even confusing options. They're critical. So be aware, like there would be such questions. Dharam calls them 15-second questions. So it's like, yeah, you see it, you move forward. Um, I think what they're trying to test you, I mean, it's the one way or the other. They're trying to test you on I think your pressure. Like let's say in a PfMP, you have to make a lot of decisions. You have to make quick decisions. You just need to know that transition, what would take more time, what would take less time. So yeah, overall, if your preparation is good, it should go. There will be kind of a doubt when you answer most of the question. You will still be on the doubt, like I don't know yet, like not 100% sure, but go with your 80% and that should be right.
Yeah, it's very important to maintain the consistency during the exam. And
Hmm.
yes, can be a time where you are struggling with the question. So 28 question in 1 hour. If you do
Hmm.
simple mathematics, 4 hour exam, so 30 times 4 is 120. But
Right.
you need to improve as you go further, and you correct initially because your mind is not set for the exam. If you, even if it's a simple question, you start doubting that,
Right.
or a long question, of course, it will start telling you, you start taking pressure, more and more pressure on
Right.
yourself. So it is important to stay consistent. Yes, there will be time where you start feeling bored, sometimes too much pressure. You need to revise yourself, revive yourself, and then continue with the pace. So just to tell, thanks for sharing. And I will also share my journey when I was doing my exam in October, 24th of October, 2018, sometime now. Uh, I did everything what I do normally in the morning, yoga, meditation, whatever I do. And I reached to the center, and for me, I was feeling that uh, Actually, I should give a little background, little more background here. I did Ginger's exam, 20 question exam. This is part of the chapter, and I scored really, really badly. And that was 3 out of 20. And that's 3 days before the exam. And that changed. I will start doubting myself. I don't know where I'm going wrong, what is going wrong. Anyway, so that it was a eye opener for myself. And I say, okay, this is not going to work. I start visualizing, start looking all the connection, everything together, and then start doing question after question. My question, answering the question become very, very easy as we go progress further. And during the exam, I was going question by question. I was just saying, hang on, this can't be right because all questions are coming easy to me now, and there must be a question at the end which are going to trick me at the later stage. But thank God, my exam gone very well in the 3 hour and 10 minutes I was able to complete. I don't know whether it's because I know the material now or I did Ginger's question, which gave me an extra boost or extra confidence after failing first time. But whatever it is, it's you need to maintain your consistency. You have to believe in yourself. You never know. Yes, you're struggling initially, but you can recover from that. And then rest is the history. Once you pass the exam, you don't think too much about it. But your consistency throughout the preparation, consistency throughout the exam, all makes huge difference. And also what happened before your 24 hour you mentioned that keeping yourself cool. Don't worry too much about the exam, just focus on, yes, don't focus anything, just enjoy, watch movies, spend time with your kids. Night before is very, very important. You should sleep early, as you probably did, Ani. Sleep early and have good night sleep. Wake up in the morning. Do everything what you do. That meditation. Walking if you're doing walking. Go to gym if you have to go to gym. All these things. No, don't change your schedule because your mind is still set, and also your mind need to be sharp or not that day. Don't put extra burden by reading whole night, reading while traveling, reading 5 minutes before exam. All is adding more and more pressure to to your exam. And if your mind is fresh, you're clear, everything flow very, very smoothly. So it was good to hear from you, Ani, your journey and how you got there.
Yeah, just adding to that is like agree with Dharam, especially Ginger book. It's really tough. I mean, let me be honest. It's not gonna be when you read it. It's gonna be, oh yeah, I got it. Like does a very good job of getting into in between lines, like very specific to a particular line. It's good to do. Dharam calls it acid test, but it is like it's not a test where they're trying to test you for your comprehension, right? It's not about do you remember everything in the book. It's not a comprehension test. It's about what did you get out of it, right? There is this 10-line question, and most of it is about a lot of noise and situation where see you're doing this, what would you do? But she does a very good job of how bad a question can be, that how difficult a question can be. So it sets you up for it, even though you might get probably 5 to 10% of that kind of a questions in the exam, but it makes it, it's like you train for a marathon and then you all you are asked to do is running a 5K. So it's kind of gets you to that, and it's not an overkill for sure. I mean, the only thing is don't if you don't get it right, it's okay, but it's kind of a must, at least some of it. The other thing I wanna mention is for the tennis fans is like there was a time when people said you can only defeat Federer if you take him to the fifth set because he loses steam after four sets. So you can't defeat him at four. He has complete energy. On the fifth set, he gets tired. If you take him there, you probably have a chance to beat, right? That's what used to happen with the test as well. Is like depends on your energy level. In my line of work, I don't sit at a desk 4 hour ever. Like I'm running into this meeting or I'm having a stand-up meeting. I probably sit 30 to 40 minutes, really focus on doing like a presentation preparation or the financial analysis or things like that. So it's a switch for us who have. have done our schooling long time ago. So just see, for me, it's like last 1 hour is where my brain really starts to ache, kind of. So be prepared, understand how your body works, especially the bio break. Take it if you want it. You can't answer a question with a full bladder. I did take a break. And then understand, for me, last 30, 40 minutes, it was hard. I need to just refresh my brain. Okay, one more question, because it's never done a 4 hour straight thing for years, right? So yeah, just adding to some of the real time issues that comes up.
Yeah, yeah. And yes, very important to have a break in between. I mean, I recommend around 2 hours, especially by the time your mind start feeling exhausted, and you kind of a point where you can analyze yourself. So if you did, let's say out of 270 question, you did only 60 question, you know that you have to improve your pace. Sometimes it helps you to break the pattern, and of course you go to washroom and wash your face, and do have some fresh oxygen will always help you to get back to your exam. One important thing is whenever you're taking break, make sure nobody else is out of the room, is gone out. Why I'm saying this, because if somebody is coming in front of you at the time of check-in, uh, these people will do thorough checking of this person, and you're waiting in the queue, and then your turn comes. So in this process, you're losing your time, and that is going to create more stress for yourself.
Yeah, I think there is a different process from Pearson to the one is like previously Pearson, you could raise their hand and they would go. Now they have to come in. They have to log in their ID password, and then they have to say he's taking a break, and then you have to. So it's a little more difficult, a little
Okay.
more process oriented. So probably even other than the break itself, you probably there are 3 4 minutes that would just have you get out and get in. Like you have to log in again and do all of that, and you lose all that time. But I would recommend it's totally worth it. Your brain just needs a restart.
Yeah. And yeah, frankly, I'm not aware of Pearson exam because I've not done any exam since the change happened. But yeah, good point about that. Yeah, one more thing. Yeah, you highlight about Ginger's questions, and I highly recommend those questions. I know it's a very difficult exam, and yes, you talk about she take kind of a marathon. You're going to run 5K, which is good to be over prepared. But the important thing is don't take any negativity from that. Yes, you score maybe 30%, 40%, 50%. That is not your exam. That's just a mock exam, just to help you to recover wherever your weaknesses are.
Mhm.
Okay, just take it positively, and make sure once you did go through the book, do it again, or maybe another set of question to see if you have improved a lot. And please don't take any of these exams, whether my exam, Ginger's exam, as the baseline. These are just to give you a feel of a real exam, but nowhere close to any of the exam. You may get a lot of hard questions, or you may get very easy questions as well.
And then what I mean, most of my work is data science and data analysis. So I might have done an overkill on analysis, but it's totally worth it. So I had this sheet, like Google Sheet, where I would answer 20 questions, and then I would say, what is the percentage I got? And I would do that for the entire thing. And in Ginger, you can also say in which category how much you scored. So when I asked Dharam, when I would be prepared, he said, if you get 60% in Ginger, you should be good. Like, oh, that's a lot. Then for the first, I think first 120, the first, there, she has two different sets. In first sets, I was around 40, 35, I think, 35 to 40. And the second one, I got around 62. Not in one sitting, though. I did not, you have to forget about time. You just have to go through the questions. You can't answer all those in 4 hours. So I got 62. And then I had analysis. Okay, I know which category that I am not doing well, and some of them are intuitive. My intuitive thing is, oh, communication and risk management should be straightforward. It's just intuitive answering, but those were the weakest. And though they were small, they were the weakest because I was assuming stuff from PMP, and PfMP risk management and communication is a little different. It's like a portfolio. As per their process, portfolio manager doesn't manage any of the project or process. He is more concerned about the data that's been sent is accurate or not. So there is a huge difference. It's slight, but there's so minor that when you start answering questions, it's like, oh, that's a program manager's role. That's not a portfolio management role. So I would recommend that, though it's not just answering questions, going back, analysis, data is the new oil, right? So more data you have on how you're doing will help you. I mean, I did few chapters 4 times, or compared to another chapter which I did once. For example, the tricky part is the even before you start the first chapter where there is a lot of text, seems like they're just explaining you things. It's the strategic management. There are like, I think, 20, 30 pages. It seems like, oh yeah, it's intuitive read, but there's a lot of information in there. There's a lot of questions in there. So there are some sections I revisited a couple times, others I did not. So again, based on do the analysis on your questions that you do and see which your weak points are, then go revisit. It's totally worth it.
Mm. Yeah, actually, same scenario for me. I was thinking about, yeah, communication and risk management. I know from PMBOK, I know from doing program management, all should be easy. But when I start doing the questions, it's not about the question, the way we do tools and technique. But here we're talking about, like, in communication scorecard, and instead of communicating, sending email, you're using different strategy here. So knowing various tools which are specific for the portfolio management is very important. So yeah, so that's where I'm also assuming, but I realized that I have to study more, and I was able to recover. But yes, all helpful. So Ani, so what do you think your organization going to benefit from having you as a portfolio PfMP now?
Uh, I would refer to there is a pyramid in PFSPM, which beautifully explains why portfolios required. So you have objective, strategy, and there is tons of operations and project. This is like it's like an Oreo cookie with that cream in between, where the best part is the cream, right? So it's like that's what the benefit you will get. The perspective mean the C level or the directors won't be able to talk to individual SMEs or the project managers in terms of what they want, right? They have a town hall, they would say. So now I know that I'm more equipped to give them the reason. I know, like, most companies might be very projectized. You have a delivery, you do it. You have set of tasks to do, you do it. But way I conduct my teams is like, if I don't give the meaning and the purpose behind what we do, there is very less motivation. Of course,
Mm,
money stops being a motivator after 70K as per the study. But the point is, my team, when they know the reason why, the impact that they're gonna do, I've seen them. I mean, I don't have to track what they do at all. They come back with new ideas because they're motivated, because there is that meaning behind it. And then this translation is very important for any company. It's like, most of these strategic change are not doesn't make everybody happy, right now is like, you created a new department, you moved people around, you were used to this boss, and now there's a new boss and there's new. So change, most people some people like, some people don't. So that gives me that ability to understand what company wants, and then able to convey that in their own language, where they understand it. Some need zeros and ones, and some needs a different way of it. That helps me. So that's the benefit, being the cream in the Oreo cookie kind of a thing.
good, good, good. And how it's going to help you in your journey in your career?
Yeah, I so it's basically having a badge that qualifies you. So, for example, I mean, to be honest, it's like I'm the 311th PfMP certified person in the US. That itself, like right now, PMP, I think that it's reaching around 100,000,
Oh,
right?
million. Oh, sorry, you're
Million.
talking US. Yeah.
PMP, PMP is around 100,000, right? And
Globally is 1 million, over million.
right. So let's say PfMP gets to that point, and not many people want to do. So you are those first few people, right? You have that. You're the first 500 in the US to do this. So that will always remain with you for rest of the year. So when PFM now PMP is like everybody gets it now. PF, it's a mandatory thing almost. PFMP is a niche. thing. And then since you get it, and of course there is a process of application that not anybody can get PfMP. You need to be qualified for it. So, and PMI certificates are very highly regarded. So that gives me that edge. And even some people don't, what is this PfMP? They look it up. Okay, you are within like first few thousands in the country. So that gives you that edge. So I'm not looking to change up if I might, but that will always add me. And then, and the second part is, I would say that's a tangible one. You can directly say it. Intangible one is where you speak is going to change. Where you express your ideas is going to change. You're going to look like somebody who's talking more strategic rather than just words. And
Yes.
then we all have intuitively have ideas, but you're going to use those keywords and then processes, and then it just puts you out there. Oh yeah, he knows his thing.
Exactly. Exactly. So, Ani, I got so many questions, but I
Mhm.
don't want to take out that time. But guys, if you still have, I have not seen any questions so far, but if you have any questions, please keep putting on the pad. We still have some time. I still have not, we're not finished, but yes, keep asking. And Ani, so some people like to do self-study, or some people like to do mentoring program or boot camp. Why do you think, having mentoring can be useful versus self-study?
Right. So again, I would say if you're Sheldon Cooper, you don't need anybody. But what helped me, let's say, ideal case, I could have done it on my own, had a in a year or 6 months. All I wanted is the focus and the doubt. The doubt is, how do you know what to study? Do you study? And I think the biggest question are the clarity, right? You have a doubt, it doesn't make sense. And trust me, not everything in SPM is logically consistent. Some of them are not, but most of them are. Some, if you look into the diagrams and stuff, there are some they're making. That's, I think the fourth edition is where made those changes and stuff. Even when you ask like ginger questions and other questions, some of them are like it doesn't make sense at all. So that's where you need a mentor to help you with it. And then what I really like about Dharam's mentorship, it's kind of more structured. You know where to go, and the study material that he has gives you a little more alignment. And then it's the confidence. I would say it was the biggest thing. It's like I did not know when I would be ready. Like Dharam, what do you think? And then he said, it's not what you how you answer, but the kind of questions you're asking means that you're going through the material in a way that you're preparing right. Am I preparing right? Right. I'm spending 2 hours a day, 1.5 hours a day, consistently every day. I'm being more disciplined, but am I basically it's a PfMP question? Am I doing the right thing? Right. It's not about reading the book 10 times. It's about am I reading the right thing? Am I reading in a way that will be enable me to answer questions? So that is where the mentorship comes in,
Yeah.
and especially with the group mentoring program is where you will have other colleagues who are actually on the same journey and their questions clears your concepts, right? And then there's a sense of community and it's basically going back to school, and then there is a community of people helping you to learn. um, the example is a master can only take a horse to the river. The horse has to drink the water, right? Eventually, no matter what mentorship you have, one like I have to do it, but mentorship really helps you take there. You will save a lot of time. There is no doubt about it. You will save a lot of stress about doubts and things like that, and are you doing the right thing? Yeah, and then overall you'll come ahead in terms of how much of stress that you get away, and then time that you save. And I mean, I couldn't have done it in 3 months had I not had a mentor. There's no doubt about it.
Great. Thank you. Thank you for your kind words. I do have, I think, one question here.
Mhm.
This. So
It says took for studying and start to end. That's what I see. Okay,
I'm little,
it's a
okay,
little smaller window. Okay,
small window. Yeah, that's right. So the question is, this is amazing. Oh, moment I move it here.
I think it's asking about. Let me read it. First of all, thanks for organizing this session. Very inspiring. I failed understanding how many months it took studying from start to end. Okay, I think that's what it is. Yeah, numbers. 3 months. I took my test December 24th, yeah, December 20th. My first group mentoring program with Dharam was October 5th, I think. So October,
Yep.
November, December. And that's when I really focused on it. I was skimming or just looking for what I can do in the month of September. I wasn't focused. Was still making a call whether I should take it or not. So start to end, 3 months. And again, it depends on everybody. Some people might do it faster. I have people who prepared longer, like 6 months, a year. um, it's just my way of doing it is, if I'm not focused and I have a deadline, a strict line, I don't focus. So I had to push through. Your Depends on your how based on how I did PMP. I think PMP I did it in, I think, in 2 months. So I knew I would be able to do it. So 3 months, if you're looking for a number.
Mm. And actually, everybody is different. You correctly said.
Mm.
And if I look my bell curve, if I put PgMP and PfMP together,
Mm.
I've seen people doing in month or 1.5 months as well. I've seen people doing, years and years. But to be realistic, 2 to 3 months is realistic time frame. If you are doing early, it can be because you are putting extra hours and extra dedication, which is good. Or if you're going beyond 3 months, 4 months, that means you're going to, maybe it's going to take longer time. So having a focused date will definitely help you. Yeah. So there's another question, Ani. This is the amazing session. I usually take things light, these things light, the minor tips, even about the breaks and the metaphors of to understand the things. Awesome, Annie. The cricket match, first 10 overs versus final over score. Yep, that's correct. One question: why and how did you choose Dharam as mentor?
Mhm.
And what is your take? Just to follow his training or do more other than training or material in addition.
Okay. Oh, yeah, thank you. And I like to bring in sports and tennis and things like that. Okay. Let me understand the question. So, and the question is, first question is why I chose Dharam as my mentor, and second question, if I get it right, is other than the coaching, what else did you do? So let me
Yep.
start with the first one. Why Dharam? So, let me again go back to things. Is like when you choose a mentor, right? There should be some synchronicity, right? Way for me, the good thing is Dharam does this 15 minutes interview about it, I think what do you call it, Dharam? So he gives a 15 minutes interview. He looks at your profile and say, hey, yes, based on this, you might be doing, and he talks to you about what he can provide. So that 15-minute interview that he took was good. I mean, that give me there is a synchronicity between me and him, and I can way he wants to mentor, way I want to be mentored will be like would work. His style would work with me. For me, my style is not where somebody keeps telling, did you do this? Did you do this? Did you do this? So it's like a free. I'm more motivated to do it. He knows when he has to push. He would when he steps back, and then. Way we think and some of the ideologies match. It's kind of okay. What is PfMP? It's not like I don't know. There is other mentors who would focus on this is how you answer a question. So his style is more about explaining the idea, and then though there is an SPM, the real world was a actual exam to what SPM says. There is that gap. So kind of that is why I chose, and I did look into other mentors as well. There were other programs available. I skimmed through that, and then from me, Dharam's style of doing it, and also is very quick. He said I said I want to talk to him 15 minutes. Next day he was available. We talked. So the kind of response is really good. You're not waiting. So he did a good job on that. So that's why I chose Dharam. And again, bottom line is you're also looking at the cost, and then you're also looking at if your company is sponsoring, you're paying it on your own pocket. There's all those factors you have to factor in. So the group mentoring program is something is really good. It kind of gives you the whole package of it. Second question is, what did I do other than the mentoring program? Um, so Dharam, I'll just let them, like, our program was like you get an hour-long session every week, and it's divided into the subjects and things like that. So that is probably like a weekly check-in, and Dharam would give you all these materials and stuff. So though it's like this checkpoints, like in your, like the gate reviews in your study preparation, where Dharam comes in here and gives you the feedback and stuff. Other than that, I would say that a lot has to be done at our own end, right? I was disciplined enough to like start my day studying this. I used to, in my mentoring program, is like, this is what I did this week, and this is my way of tackling these topics. Does it make sense to you? Or what is your feedback? And even in a session, say, does few questions, and he sees how you do your questions, and say, last week you did like this. I like how you are. I mean, I talk through when I answer a question, like, oh yeah, this is nice, this is this. So he gives me that feedback. Is like, yeah, I like how you're going through this. Maybe if I'm not doing right, you just probably have to go back and read these two things. It's more of a checkpoint that gives you. But other than that, what I did is definitely I made my own notes. Um, like Ginger book, before the first two chapters has like a very short, one
Um,
page, 2 page highlights. So I
yes.
printed, yeah, those are not good enough to answer the question. It gives you a framework. I printed those and I wrote my mind map kind of a things. I wrote because that's how I learned as a kid. So I wrote a lot of notes. That was outside the thing that I did on my own. Questions, Ginger questions, definitely yes, I did that. And I don't like wasting time on commute. I usually listening to podcasts or some book, and listen. I would listen to the recorded message. So even if I'm getting 20%, I'm just, my brain is getting enriched with, my neurons are getting refreshed, and I might remember something. Also, I do what is called uh, every day I would recall some things. There are a few things you need to put into memory. There's no doubt about it. There is um, the structure, like the knowledge areas and those columns that you need to know. I mean, it's just like without that, it's hard to. You can do it, but it's hard to. You can't put everything on logic. Something has to be in your memory, and then some of the inputs and common outputs. Some of them you can't remember all of those. So it's like primary one. I just remember them. So I used to recall them every day on my come to work. So yeah, those are some of the things.
Thanks, Ani. Just before we finish, I'd like to highlight that I'm starting one mentoring program tonight. Tonight, it will be tomorrow morning. So still have some seats available. Please feel free to reach out to me. And the 15-minute time, you can all book some time with me by going to www.dharamsingh.co, and you can book some time with me. I will be more than happy to analyze your readiness or any question clarification you have related to PfMP or PgMP. And also, my programs are coming up, and I'm going to Saudi Arabia next month. I'm running one PfMP program there, and also PgMP programs, and then San Francisco, and Germany, Europe. I'm coming there in Europe as well. So there are many programs happening. So you keep an eye on the announcements, as well as you can contact me. Go to my website www.vcareprojectmanagement.com, and yeah, you can always reach out to me through LinkedIn, or and you also connect with Ani. He's not only for PfMP. He's as you can see the painting behind him. He's a really great painter. And I said, start auctioning them. You probably get you don't have to worry about studying anything or doing anything else.
Thanks, Dharam.
Yeah, one more question I think we have here before we finish. What is the difference? What is the procedure to study for PgMP, PfMP certification, and where can you find the material in order to study for taking the exam? So I think I will answer this. It's a very, Ani has covered most of the things. Both have exactly or similar process to learn, and also, in terms of study material, yes, I have a lot of study material. I will talk about that. But yeah, start with having 15-minute time with me, and we can work out on that. So last, any other question we have? Ani, where are you based out? I think Ani is based out of Portland in USA. Yep, Ani.
Yeah, I'm currently in Portland, Oregon. Uh, yeah, it's like in between the Silicon Valley and Seattle. So if you're in the area, please do contact me on LinkedIn, and if you want more information, we can catch up.
Great stuff. Thank you very much for all of you joining this session. A special thanks to Ani. You gave me your 1 hour in the morning. I know it's after you have to do meditation. Maybe you have to cut short your meditation, but this was really worthwhile time spending with us. And most people who are starting the journey and who are in the journey got a lot out of this. And if anybody has any question, clarification about PfMP or how to eligibility, you can talk to him, as well as you can contact me. And yeah, we love to help you out. So good luck, all of you. And thanks again, Ani. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Thank you. Thanks, everybody.
Bye.